Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to go over the Show What You Know questions so you can prepare for the Desmos assignment tomorrow. So the first question asked you to, I have to look at my questions, determine the slope and y-intercept of the line 4x minus 3y minus 42 equals 0. Okay, so for this one, we want to rearrange this. Remember, we want to have our lines in y equals mx plus b form. So I need to rearrange this. So 4x minus 3y minus 42 equals 0. So we want to rearrange this. We're going to keep the y over here. So minus 3y equals, I move the 4x to the other side, it becomes negative 4x. I move the negative 42 to the other side, it becomes positive 42. Now to get the y by itself, I have to divide everything by 3y, or by negative 3. So I end up with y equals, now this 4 over 3, these two negatives will cancel out, so we just end up with 4 over 3 x, and then 42 divided by negative 3 would be negative 14. So you were asked to identify the slope and the y-intercept. So the slope here is 4 over 3x, and the y-intercept is negative 14. Okay, the next question was similar. It said that there is a perpendicular slope. So, okay, I'm going to read the question. Determine the equation of the line that is perpendicular to line 2x plus 5y minus 10 equals 0 and passes through the point 8 and negative 1. So the first thing that we're going to do here, I'll go back to my screen. The first thing that we're going to do here is rearrange this and get the equation of the original line. So I will clear what we've done here. Let's change our color too. Do a different question. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite this. So we have 2x plus 5y minus 10 equals 0. So we're going to start off by doing the same thing we did in the previous question because we need to find the equation of this line. So I'm going to get the y by itself. So 5y equals, I'm going to move this 2x to the other side, so negative 2x, and move the negative 10 to the other side, so that's a positive 10. Oh, my computer's going slow. There we go. We have to divide everything by 5 to get the y by itself. It's really lagging. There we go. So this is just going to become y. Because this is negative 2 over 5, that's our slope. I'm not going to divide that because I would get a fraction. And 10 divided by 5 is 2. So this is the original line, right? The question said it has a slope perpendicular to this line. So if this is my slope of the original line, the perpendicular slope, oh, it's really lagging. Makes it hard to write. So remember, the perpendicular slope is the negative reciprocal. So I'm going to take this slope and I'm going to flip it. So instead of 2 over 5, it's going to be 5 over 2. And because this was a negative 2 over 5, my negative reciprocal slope is positive. So 5 over 2x is the slope for the line we're looking for. Now, it says that it passes through a specific point. So in order to write the equation of a line, we need two things. We need the slope and the y-intercept. Well, the y-intercept is not going to be the same as this line because it's a different line. So what we have to do is take our negative reciprocal slope and plug it in with the point from the line, and that will help us find our y-intercept. So let's clear this. So I already know that my slope is going to be, slope is 5 over 2x, and this line passes through (8) and (-1). So 8 is an x coordinate, (-1) is a y coordinate. So what I'm going to do is plug this into the equation of the line with this slope. That will help us to find our y-intercept. So y equals mx plus b. My m is my slope. I have an x and y. What I'm looking for is the b. I don't know what b is, right? So my y is (-1). My m is my slope, which is 5 over 2. My x is 8 plus b. So we're looking for b. So what I need to do here is work this out. So keep that (-1) there for now. I have 5 over 2 times 8. Remember that when we are multiplying fractions, we multiply straight across. So 5 times 8 is 40. And 2 times the imaginary 1 that's under the 8 is 2 plus b. Well, we know that 40 divided by 2 would be 20. So we've got (-1 equals 20 plus b. How do I find b? I have to isolate it, right? So I'm going to move this 20 to the other side. So I have (-1, and this positive 20 will become a (-20. So minus 20 equals b. (-1 minus 20 is (-21). So (-21 equals b. So now we have the components of this line, and we can write the equation of the line. We needed our slope and our y-intercept. Now we have both of those things. So the equation of the line, the actual answer of this question, is y equals 5 over 2 x minus 21. I hope that makes sense. So I know it was a lot of work to get to this point because we had to do the same thing from the first question just to find our slope. Then we had to flip the slope because this question said it had a line with a perpendicular slope. So that's how we got our 5 over 2x. And then we had to find the y-intercept by plugging in the x and y coordinates. Okay, last question was a word problem. Get that in front of me. So the LaJoy family are driving home from a vacation at a constant speed. After 3 hours, they are 350 kilometers from home. After 5 hours, they are still 130 kilometers from home. Write an equation of a line to represent d, which is the distance from home, when n is the number of hours they have been driving for. So let's do this one. I gotta get back to my screen here. Okay. So for this one here, first I need to find the slope. Okay? So what I'm going to do is use my formula for slope, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now remember, I had two sets of coordinates, right? Look at this question again here. At 3 hours, they are 350 kilometers from home. And at 5 hours, they are 130 kilometers from home. So I've got 3. My two coordinates are 3 and 3 and 350 and 5 and 130. 3 and 350, and so that's 1 point, and 5 and 130 is the other point, right? So if we have, this is an x and y, so this is x1, y1, and x2, y2. So what I want to do first is find the slope. So I'm going to plug them into this formula here. So that gives me 130 minus 350 y2 minus y1 over my x2, which is 5, minus my x1, which is 3. So we work this out. 130 minus 350 is negative 220. 5 minus 3 is 2. Negative 220 divided by 2 is negative 110. So negative 110 is our slope. That's the rate that the family is traveling. Okay, this is the slope. So we want to put this into y equals mx plus b form. We need to figure out our y-intercept. So in order to do that, we can take either one of these 2 points. So x1, y1 is 1 point on this line. x2, y2 is another point on this line. So either one of them will work. I'm going to use the second point for 5 and 130. So all I have to do is, let's rewrite this, y equals mx plus b. That's our form. I'm going to plug in my slope of negative 110, and I'm going to plug in the x and y from this point. So with 5 and 130, my y is 130. My slope, again, I said was negative 110. My x from this point is 5, so times 5, plus b. B is my unknown, right? Now I'm going to solve for b. So 130 equals negative 110 times 5 is negative 550 plus b. I want to get b by itself, so 130. This negative 550 becomes a positive 550, so plus 550 equals b. 130 plus 550 would be 680. B. So now I have my y-intercept. This is the y-intercept. And I already had my slope. So the question asked me to write the equation of the line as distance. So d equals, we're using the same form though, y equals mx plus b, right? What's my m? Negative 110. N plus my y-intercept, which is 680. So that is the answer to the word problem.